Okay, let's talk about a really fascinating showdown in the camera world. We've got two Sony cameras, the ZV-E1 and the FX3. And here's the wild part. They have the exact same amazing full-frame sensor inside, but one costs almost $2,000 more than the other. So you have to ask, is that professional price tag really worth it? Let's get into it.
Right? I mean, that's the core of it all. When the final image, the thing people actually see, is basically identical, what are you paying for with that extra $2,000? And I'll tell you right now, it's not just a simple upgrade. It's a completely different philosophy about what a camera is supposed to do.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll start with that $2,000 question. We'll confirm that, yep, the image quality really is a tie. Then we'll dig into the stuff that actually separates them, how they're built, how they perform under pressure, and the whole professional workflow. And by the end, we'll help you figure out which camera is the perfect one for you.
All right, let's set the stage and introduce our two contenders.
So, in one corner, you've got the Sony ZV-E1. It comes in around $2,500 and it's really made for vloggers and content creators. In the other corner, we have the Sony FX3, sitting at about $4,300, and this one is aimed squarely at pro videographers and filmmakers. That is a massive price gap for two cameras that seem so incredibly similar on the surface.
Now let's talk about the most crucial part of this whole comparison, and honestly, the most surprising. When it comes down to the final image, these two cameras are practically twins.
And the reason for that is pretty simple. They share the exact same heart. We're talking about the same 12-megapixel full-frame sensor, the same 4K recording options, that amazing dual native ISO for low light, and even the same high-quality internal recording formats. The engine that actually captures the image is identical.
And look, you don't just have to take my word for it. The general consensus is that the image quality is so close, you would really struggle to tell them apart. So, if it's not the image, where in the world is all that extra money going?
Okay, let's get physical. Let's talk about how these cameras are actually built. The ports, the card slots, the body itself. Because this is where that price gap really starts to make a whole lot more sense.
Let's kick things off with connectivity. The ZV-E1 has a micro HDMI port, and anyone who's used one knows they're kind of flimsy. They're a real liability on a busy set. The FX3, though, has a robust, full-size HDMI port. But it's not just about durability. That big port is what unlocks the ability to send a raw video signal to an external recorder, which, for a lot of high-end productions, is an absolute must-have.
Then you've got the memory cards. The ZV-E1 has one single SD card slot. For a professional, that is a terrifying single point of failure. If that card dies, your entire shoot is just gone. The FX3 has dual card slots, so you can make a backup on the fly. And they're not just any slots. They support those super fast CFexpress Type A cards, which makes getting your footage off the camera way, way quicker.
And this just perfectly shows the different design philosophies. The ZV-E1 is lighter, it's more compact. The FX3, though, is heavier because it's built like a little tank. It's got mounting points all over the body, so you don't need to buy a cage for it. It comes with a professional top handle with real XLR inputs for high-quality audio, and it's just covered in customizable buttons so you can work fast on set.
So, okay, the FX3 is definitely built tougher. But how do they actually perform when the pressure is on, when you're in the middle of a long shoot?
And here it is. We've hit the ZV-E1's single biggest weakness, overheating. For short clips, it's totally fine. But if you're trying to record a long interview, an event, or a wedding ceremony, it's probably going to shut down. And for a content creator, that's annoying. For a professional with a client standing right there, it's a total disaster.
And this is the FX3's multi-$1,000 solution. It has a fan, an internal fan with an active cooling system. This means the FX3 can record for pretty much as long as you want without overheating. You're not just buying a fan here, you're buying reliability. You are buying the peace of mind that your camera is going to work no matter what.
But hold on, this isn't a total knockout. Because it's the newer camera, the ZV-E1 actually has the edge in a couple of really key areas. It has a special AI processor, which means its autofocus is way smarter and its digital stabilization is significantly better. So for a vlogger or a solo shooter who's walking and talking, those features might honestly be more valuable than an internal fan.
All right, finally, let's look at the software, the stuff under the hood that really separates a consumer camera from a professional cinema tool.
You see, the FX3 is part of Sony's Cinema line, and that unlocks exclusive software. You get things like Cine EI, which helps its footage match perfectly with bigger Sony cinema cameras on a set. You get shutter angle control, which automatically keeps your shutter speed correct when you change frame rates, a little thing that prevents huge mistakes. It records in true cinema standard formats like DCI 4K and 24p. And yep, it's officially Netflix approved, which is a seal of approval you need for a lot of high-end jobs.
So, with all of that on the table, how do you actually choose? Well, it all comes down to the kind of work you do.
Let's just boil it all down. The ZV-E1 is for you if you're a vlogger, a travel shooter, or a content creator who wants that beautiful full-frame image without paying the pro price. You get better autofocus and stabilization. You just have to learn to work around its limits. The FX3 is for you if your job demands professional reliability. If you absolutely cannot afford for your camera to overheat, if you need those heavy-duty connections for pro audio and video, and if your clients need cinema workflow features, then the FX3 is a no-brainer. It's the right tool for the job.
At the end of the day, that $2,000 difference isn't about getting a better picture, it's about paying for rock-solid reliability and a professional workflow. So the real question isn't which camera is better, it's what kind of creator are you?